Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA Daily Analysis. NVIDIA finally got the momentum today before the earnings. We'll discuss if NVIDIA can break a 150 level before earnings and what can be the situation after earnings. Now, let's get started. Starting with the daily summary, Nvidia opened at 141.32. It made a high of 147.13. It made a low of 140.99 and it closed at 147.01. That is 4.89% up. And after hours, it's still up about 0.46%. So this means that our decision to hold Nvidia stock until the earnings looks like a good decision. I saw lots of comment last week and this week also. Should we hold Nvidia stock until the earnings? And my answer was I'm still holding it. It's totally up to you guys. So looks like things are working out for us before the earnings. And also, I'm gonna wait what they're gonna announce during the earnings call. So I have no plan to sell Nvidia stock before earnings. And tomorrow we might see some volatility on Nvidia stock. And also there is a possibility that Nvidia might go further up tomorrow before the earnings. But after the earnings, it totally depends on what the report during the earnings call. Now let's take a look this data one more time regarding what happened in previous three earnings. I shared with you this file sometime early last week, probably Monday or Tuesday, and I showed you guys that in previous three releases, 1 week prior to the earnings and 1 week after the earnings, these were the percentage changes. In August release, 1 week prior to the earnings, the total percentage change was negative. That was 2.05%, and May 0.39% positive. And February, 1 week prior, was 6.48% negative. And 1 week after the earnings in August, Nvidia went down about 15%. And May release, Nvidia went up about 15% 1 week after the earnings. And February, Nvidia went up again 15.2% after 1 week of the earnings. When I say after 1 week of the earnings, I mean from the earnings time till 1 week after the earnings, what was the total percentage change? And similarly, for 1 week prior, I mean 1 week prior to the earnings call, what was the total percentage change in last 5 days before the earnings call? And based on that data, I came up with these numbers. So 1 week prior, meaning in the last 5 days total, my best case was 0.39% and the worst case was 6.48% down. So my highest number was 148.68 before the earnings call. And I did this assessment sometime Tuesday last week. So from Tuesday last week till tomorrow, best case was 148.68. Let's take a look what's Nvidia stock price for now. You see that Nvidia stock price is 147.01. So I'm pretty close. So Nvidia still has more room to go further up before earnings based on this table, right? 148.68. And the worst was 138.50. So did Nvidia touch 138 in last 5 days? Let's take a look. You see Nvidia historical adjusted closing price. So you see that Nvidia went down in last 5 days. It's starting from here. So the lowest Nvidia touch was 140.15, and that's the adjusted closing price. And the lowest level on that day was 137.15. And my worst case was 138.50. So I was pretty close on this number as well. So far so good. And 1 week after, my estimate is this: the best case 171.68, and that is based on 15% upside, and the worst case 125.72, and that is based on a 15% downside based on the historical data. And I'm more than positive this data might have helped you in last 5 or 6 days. This helped me a lot in making some transactions. That's why I was reluctant to sell Nvidia before the earnings, looking at this data. Now let's take a look at what is the forward P for Nvidia and other AI stocks at this point. So you see in this table, Nvidia forward P at this point is at 47.12, is still below 50 forward P. So in my opinion, Nvidia still has more room to go further up. Palantir continues to go up. As of last week, it was 193.44, slightly down from last week. Right now it's 185.24. SMCI forward P 8.90. So if you remember, I made a video on SMCI over the weekend and I predicted that SMCI might surge big this week. And you notice that in last 2 days total SMCI went up about 60%. And AMD forward P is at 31.47, slightly higher than the last week closing, but still AMD also has some potential to go further up. It's a good opportunity on AMD stock as well. And regarding my price projection before earnings, as I shared with you 2 months ago, my maximum was 151.73. So far, NVIDIA is about 148 at this point. So it will be interesting to see if NVIDIA can cross 150 before the earnings tomorrow. And I have the feeling that NVIDIA either would cross 150 tomorrow before earnings, or it will be so close to 150, probably about 149.67 or 8 or something like that. What do you guys think? Please write in the comment section if Nvidia can break 150 before earnings tomorrow. And after earnings, my price projection that I shared with you over the weekend or sometime last week is this one: min, average, and the max. So the maximum price I'm projecting is 174.6, and that is valid for next 3 months. It does not mean that Nvidia will touch 174 in next few days. So I guess it will take some time to get there. Now let's take a look technical charts for Nvidia. You see 180-day hourly interval chart for Nvidia on your screen and also the Fibonacci levels. So based on the Fibonacci levels, as I shared with you sometime last week as well, that the next resistance level, and that was a strong resistance, was 149.51, and still Nvidia was not able to break that resistance level. It tried to break multiple times last week and before last week as well, but no success. And on the downside, the support level was 141.5, and after that was 136. So Nvidia was able to break 141 sometime last week or early this week, but it could not go below 136. So I guess 136 was a very good support level. And these resistance and support level is still valid. So if Nvidia goes further down tomorrow, you will see a strong pushback around 141. On the upper side, so if Nvidia breaks 149.5, there's a possibility that Nvidia might go further up. Now let's take a look MACD for Nvidia. So you see MACD chart for Nvidia on your screen. You see the blue line. We see the strong momentum on Nvidia at this point. The curve is very steep, and at the same time, we might see some pushback on Nvidia tomorrow, as we saw somewhere here. But let's see what happens tomorrow. But my personal opinion is Nvidia might go further up tomorrow before earnings. So this steep curve should continue to go up, just like you see here and also here. Okay, so that's my personal opinion. Now let's take a look some news regarding Nvidia. Let's take a look this one. This says Nvidia's profit revenue expected to continue surging. Earnings preview. Let's open it. So these guys are also very optimistic about Nvidia's earnings and the sales number tomorrow. Nvidia's guidance for this quarter revenue is 32.5 billion, but they are expecting Nvidia to report revenue $33.13 billion, so higher than the guidance. And that's a good thing if that happens. And regarding the earnings, their expectation is 75 cents earning per share. Let's take a look my numbers that I showed you sometime over the weekend or last week. Let's take a look. So I shared with you this table a few days ago, and based on the historical data, my expectation is Nvidia to report earnings about 0.77, higher than the earnings projection. And this is based on 3.82% earnings surprise. And also, I had the feeling that Nvidia might report higher than 0.77. And based on 5.66% earnings surprise we saw last quarter, the earnings could be 0.78 or something in tomorrow's earnings call. So either 0.77 or 0.78. That's my assessment. For today, I do not see any significant or anything different in the news section today. Let's take a look other AI stocks. So on my watch list, I added two more items. That is Tesla and also Love, and that is Southwest, because time to time I spend money on these two stocks as well. So at this point, most of the stocks are positive today on my watch list. I expect tomorrow also green for Nvidia and other AI stocks. So that's all about my analysis and assessment before earnings and after earnings. I hope my videos are helping you in making a good decision regarding Nvidia stocks transactions. So if you like my videos, you can support me at Patreon or by sending me the super thanks on YouTube. I hope you like the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more in the next video. Take care.